Good morning, Mukhtar.
Thank you.
Nice to have you again.
My pleasure, sir. Being on this your wonderful studio for the first time.
Yes, you're so kind.
Yeah.
Even though you've been in other studios.
No, I've not been in this
morning studio. Thank you very much. It's good news, isn't it? This Dangote move that it announced yesterday morning. It was very, very quick about the announcement, published it all over the place. Nobody had any room for misunderstanding.
Yeah, we have to give it to whoever is running Dangote refinery, whether legal Dangote or is the management team. You know, before now we've always talked about this news that it happens like that. But again, like I said, it happened because the government also did their part, and legal Dangote also they came up. Dangote refinery came up with that announcement. I'm expecting the NNPC to come up with their own.
Indeed.
We have the price, but Nigeria is expecting that the price of refined petroleum production end the year at 300. I say amen to that too. I'm looking forward to that. But again, there's a little caveat to that, because what we will enjoy locally, where there's drop in crude oil price, we suffer internationally, drop in our revenue and also in our FX airport distributor. Yes. So that is good. And then NNPC is already selling at 925. So hopefully we might see NNPC comes to 900 or 890 or thereabout. Yes. So it's all about deregulation.
So what, I know that nobody is speaking with very much clarity on this matter. Maybe that's because they don't know. But I've always wondered, when the president announced back in the day that, look, I see all sorts of squeezes here. You know what? Supply Dangote refinery and the others crude in Naira. And the NNPC at the time
aspect, whereby the NNPC was saying that it's even cheaper to import, it's even cheaper to import than to even buy from Dangote refinery. Remember that statement from NNPC? So there was a lot of shenanigans in the way NNPC were going about the presidential directive. And again, I want to say something is NNPC is supposed to be a public company. If they were listed, and at that time they are going about...
They were working towards that.
Yes, if they were listed and they were saying, no, we don't believe in this, I will understand that, because that means you have to come to your shareholder and get approval.
Explain.
As it stands now, they shared.
He knew when that directive wasn't being followed, but held his peace.
Held his peace.
And now, I don't know if that's quite the way to express it.
Well, again, I'm happy about the new management team of NNPC.
Okay.
Number one is a private sector-driven management team. When you look at all, this is the second time in the history of Nigeria we have been a private sector-driven NNPC management team. The first one was Ibe Kachuku, when he came in from Mobi as the vice president of Mobi Producing to become the group managing director of NNPC, and from there became the petroleum minister. Remember how that translated?
Yes.
So now we have also somebody from the private sector, somebody that have gone through all the rims of the private sector, somebody that was running an indigenous oil company, and also one of one of the best indigenous companies, and the first indigenous company to acquire all the assets of Shell Petroleum. He was the one that laid that in Renaissance Energy. So we are seeing, we're expecting a lot from them. Number one, what I expect from them is corporate governance. We need to see corporate governance come to NNPC. We don't want to see that you make a profit of 6 trillion, and then at the end of the day, the loss is about 3 trillion. But we need to stop going out. We need to see audited report quarterly like it's done in the private sector. Hopefully we're able to do that. We need to see NNPC being listed also. So that all Nigerians should become part owner of NNPC. Not the type of listing that we are hearing, whereby you go abroad and try to get foreign. No, this is we want to see it done like what was done in Saudi Arabia when their national oil company was listed. Amco. And today is one of the largest. We want to see that done in NNPC. We want every Nigerian that has the means to own a share in NNPC should be allowed of petroleum products into this country. Nobody import petroleum product. So they have that. When people talk about monopoly, NNPC had that monopoly. Now, Dangote came in. Dangote didn't just come in to be a player in the crude oil sector. He came in to be a player even in the refined petroleum sector. And also remember that NNPC and Dangote's are now rivalry. What I mean that they are business competitors. They are business competitors. And so NNPC, whatever advantage I will have to take, we take immediately that. Remember,
since 2015, we have got a very good government. Yeah, that actually Nigerian people should thank God. Buhari have done his best May God bless him. Tinubu has come to make it 100% perfect. You will see things will come down. And within 2 years, do you know what Tinubu have done? It's not better than what PDP have done for 15 years.
I didn't understand
They will say that, oh, subsidy has gone up and crude oil price was down. So I think we've always said it that the subsidy scheme was a scam. So somebody came in and had the courage to say subsidy is finally gone. It came with a cost, and which a lot of Nigerians are bearing those costs. He can, I mean, the David must have said whatever he has to say, but again, it came with a cost.
The country, I mean, where we have found ourselves today, I mean, is very, very pathetic, in the sense that as at 2014, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was when Jonathan removed the subsidy, and there was a lot of backlash.
Not really fully. What we've not understood when the president said that 1 trillion has, I mean, they're saving about 1 trillion. You just need to look at the allocation to the federal, to the state, and to the local government. It has actually increased at a point the highest they have ever received since the removal of subsidy. So now the challenge before now was when the Commissioner of Finance goes to Abuja, is, oh no, you didn't pay this subsidy, you didn't pay this subsidy. Now the challenge is, no, you are supposed to return more so that we can get more. So why Nigerians are not, does not even have so much power to control the local government account any longer. So we should hold whoever is the local government chairman, councillor, accountable and ask them that you are collecting more. Why are we not seeing more development?
Indeed. In fact, that point has also been made. So I just hear that Mr. Uche was listening to this because oftentimes, as you said, everybody, they don't seem to know what you just said, that, look,
drainage work going around everywhere, trying to reconstruct the drainage, trying to do the roads now. That shows that there's an improvement in allocation. Yes, I can see that. I can see that they're trying to do all those inner roads and making it do. It's still ongoing project, but that shows you. So we need to begin to ask the local government, the state government, what are you doing with our money, rather than just think the federal government should do everything for us.
Good morning, Mr. Joshua, who has called in from Irewolide. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, and good morning to Mukhtar.
Good morning.
I really appreciate him for throwing light to the question of the last caller on this issue of the accountability of the other tiers of government. You see, Uncle Yori, any president that decides to say he wants to build Nigeria will be made a scapegoat. I'm sorry to say that president will be a scapegoat, because we are operating in an environment where the large majority of the citizens are not aware of anything. And there's no education, there's no active education that is going on for us to actually follow up on how to tap into the government activities and help to make things work. You see, 2 things quickly for me. Buhari did something for Nigeria which we haven't yet appreciated. He broke the military cabal that used to choose presidents for Nigeria. A lot of people have been asking, no, you voted for Buhari, what did he do for Nigeria? I said, look, without Buhari, nobody would have been able to confront the military and give us a civilian rule. Now we seem to have a semblance of democracy. Now this president is going to do something for Nigeria, which most of my colleagues are not also seeing, and is very pathetic. That is, he will throw light into Nigeria. This country has been like a cult. It's a secret society. You don't know what is going on. Everywhere is dark. You will just see money, 500 billion, this billion. Meanwhile, people cannot eat. You don't know how the economy runs. Now, what the president is going to do or is doing with all this, now having more allocation to state, more allocation to local government, this economic restructuring, what he's doing is he's throwing light into Nigeria. Let's even know how the country runs. Who gets what? Where does this one go? But Nigerians are focused on the president. President to the level of his own personal life. Like if I'm hungry, it must be Tinubu that should give me food. We have forgotten that we have governors, sir. We have local government chairmen. We have councillors. These people they are spirits in our midst. We don't know them.
Yeah. Okay.
And nobody is talking about it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, for calling in, Mr. Joshua there. Just the point that you were making, and, he's doubling down on it. It seems, I don't know, Nigerians just have this attitude of, who is the Ogak Patapata?
Yes.
That's the one I'm going for.
The box stop is the table.
Yes.
The box stop is the
yes,
table. I think it's because of the powerful nature that we have for the president. I mean, the powerful nature, by constitution of the president. He has so much power, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You could also see, you won't blame Nigerians for thinking like that. If a president can stay and say, look, I can declare state of emergency in a state.
Yes, unfortunately.
So those are the guys why people just feel that if you have such power to do that, you also could have such power to enforce a lot of development. But in terms of enforcing development, is not as direct as it looks like, because again, there's the party side. Maybe he could enforce development through his party, but what if the other party is in state and has a different developmental plan? So I think the only thing I keep saying is that you just have to look at the US today and see what politics is about to do to their economy. You don't mix politics and economy.
With Trump and all his executive orders.
You see how messy is becoming by the day. Today is 20%, tomorrow is coming back to 10%. The American people are protesting.
I think it even reached 50% in the case of Swaziland or something like that.
Now
it's crazy.
It's bringing it down. So because you are more or less thinking of the political side, you're not looking at the economic side of it. I think that is the challenge with the current dispensation. We are still largely driven by military, the way military does their thing. So the military, they normally said, oh, this is in charge, this person is in charge. They give the presidential order, but with the president, it's difficult to give a presidential order. I just made mention of an order that was given for removal of tariff on agriculture. It has to, at the point, the customs say, no, we have to listen, we have to have a memo from the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance, by the time the Ministry of Finance, they say, oh, it cannot be done directly. There is a constitutional attempt to it, because constitutionally, tariff must be collected. And so there are a lot of things that are not aging well with Nigeria. So much as I agree that the president doesn't have the right to say, okay, do this, but I still think the president can sometimes enforce a lot of things to be done in his capacity as a president.
Indeed.
And especially with his party men, they know what you want to achieve. Yeah. You call them.
But even Mr. President has been one of the apostles of go and tell people out there what is going on. Tell them what we are doing. Yeah. And he was commending the same to the subnationals. And he really put all his own ministers to task. Let the people know what's going on. But I think we have a call from is it Mr. Tony? Kenneth.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. My name is Canis.
Okay, Canis. Good morning to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I think I want to join my voice with the previous caller concerning the misconception we have out here about the roles of the role of the federal and the state and the local government. You can imagine most of us out here thinking even as little as the primary health care, the primary school, the secondary school, it is the responsibility of the federal, which ought not to be. Just like your guest did said, that we are not asking the right question at the right quarter, that is asking the governors to account for the monies that have been given to them to show forth what they've used this money to do. I think it is only when we begin to channel our question in the right direction, that is when we'll begin to get the right answers. Because primary healthcare is not under the purview of the federal capital. The secondary school, the primary school is not is the purview, and the roads within the local government and the state is not the responsibility of the federal capital. So until we hold these guys to begin to do their own bit, you can imagine farm produce is not coming from the center. It should be coming from the state. So if the governors can channel this money to the right places, like making sure that the farmers are doing their bit, the primary school is doing well, paying the teachers well, doing the boreholes, doing the drainages, doing all of the access road within the local government, people will not have the need to run to any of the state capitals. They will remain in their locality and begin to live well, and be happy. So for me, I think we should leave the center, everything, the president, everything, the center, and focus on the local government and the governors. Then that is when we begin to see progress in this country. But if we continue in this manner, how many kilometers of road that the federal has compared to the whole roads that we have in this nation? They have their own courts, they have their own bits to play, while the states to have their own bits. So I think we should begin to focus our attention to the local government and the state government. Then we'll begin to see progress in this country. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call. Okay, so, you know, as he was saying, and as others have been saying, I think most Nigerians who want to comment, it is their right to comment, even to criticize, they need to perhaps take a look at the Constitution and see the division of labor, so to speak. It's not everything that is the federal government, you know. So, but let's take a break now. We'll be right back. We'll come back, continue this conversation, and indeed continue to take your calls, which is very, very important, because we want to know how you feel about goings on. You know, we started off with the price of the ex-gantry price from Dangote, the refineries, you know, coming down by a whole 15 naira from 880 to 865, and all these segues is what is coming out of that. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Experience information and entertainment like never before as TVC Breakfast takes your weekends to a whole new level. Introducing TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, your ultimate source of thrilling sports updates, insightful political analysis, and captivating entertainment news. Stay in the know with what's trending, catch up with the latest in sports, and immerse yourself in the latest buzz from the world of music and movies. Your weekends are no longer just days off, but moments packed with knowledge, excitement, and enjoyment. TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, only on TVC News.
Story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time?
First, with breaking news.
Okay, welcome back. Actually, we're taking calls because I can even hear the calls in the background. My guest is Mukhtar Mohammed, stockbroker, CEO for Finance with Mukhtar. And we're looking at the recent dropping of the ex-country price from Nigeria's 660 million barrel per day refinery. So the result is that with a 15 naira drop, this is going to improve
It's just
things.
the beginning.
And it's just the beginning. Okay. The news says that after a delayed approval, the Federal Executive Council green-lighted the full implementation of the Naira-For-Crude on Wednesday.
Yeah, and with indefinitely. I like that.
Yes.
So we are not tied to that monthly, 6-month initial agreement. So now it will go, I think, there's a technical committee that also between the NNPC and Dangote and the Ministry of Finance. That's why I said I was shocked with the swift nature that Dangote responded, because that technical committee is still working. So that's why I have that confidence that the price might still drop, because again, you have to understand that the president even said it, that it's going to be on a fixed exchange rate.
Yes.
It's not going to be the fluctuating market rate that we have always seen. So we are waiting. I don't know what the rate is now. So they are still having those conversations. Even if the last 6 months, they didn't also tell us what that fixed rate was. Hopefully, this current management team of NNPC will tell us what that fixed rate is and how much crude are you giving to Dangote? Because that's another challenge, because sometimes we hear that he's even importing crude from other parts of the country to be able to meet up with his production quote.
Other parts of the world or
other part of the world.
Okay.
To meet up with production. So we need to know, and because NNPC will tell us today, that, oh, we have exhausted our quota, what they call forward payment, that they have paid forward already, they've collected money, so they have to meet that agreement. And again, that's where the legislation may have to come in. Because why did we get to the point of forward payment? Before now, what the Constitution said was that you must meet local demand. That was the premise of what they started with. Local demand first before exporting internationally. At that time, it was more or less like the oil we have in Nigeria was more of a local type of transaction. So you meet the local demand. That's why we had those refineries. After you meet the local demand, before you export the others. But now it has changed, because again, we now saw that it now became a global player, became oil price determining what happens. So we have to also play to that too. But that has what has brought us to the level whereby you need to meet up with forward payment. And it's a challenge to the NNPC also, because you've collected money, you need to meet up forward payment. There was a time that we even borrowed money in Exxon Bank to give them crude. We borrowed about 3 billion, and the way we're going to pay is with crude oil. So you can't say you will not supply when you've got that. I know that part of it, but I still think that the way out is to improve production. Even OPEC quota 1.5 million barrels, we are not meeting yet. So it's a challenge, but I think it's something they can work through.
You know, and this policy, this Naira-For-Crude policy, we understand that it's a long-term strategy said to be aiming at reducing Nigeria's reliance on foreign exchange, you know.
See, there's a challenge with that now. It's just like what every economy must have to protect its local economy. Every government needs to protect its local economy. That's exactly what is happening with the tariff war in the U.S.
Yes.
You want to protect
make America great again.
Make America great again. You want to protect your local industry. So I think that is what we are doing with the oil sector now. We are localizing it. We are bringing, instead of you foreigners dominating that space, if you realize now, a lot of Nigerians are buying some of these foreigner assets, which is good for us. So we are trying to control that space, because that's the blood of our economy. Fantastic. But in doing that also, we must also know that we need that FX. Because once that FX doesn't come in, we have a challenge. Because, like I said, that's the blood. The other sector of the Nigerian economy is not bringing in so much in terms of value, the non-oil sector, in terms of value of FX into our economy.
Not yet.
Not yet. So if you look at the data from the central bank of recent, what we've earned thus far in terms of 48% came from the oil and gas sector, contributing. The non-oil sector even went by minus 12%. So that is why we need to balance up, because otherwise, when you localize it, we begin to, it's just like you are in a house, you just chop everything you produce. So what are you going to earn back to keep yourself? So that's for me for challenge.
Okay. Mr. Yakub in Dokpemu, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to Mokhtar. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
First and foremost, let me just say the amen to the prayer that David that speaks for some of us that support this present government. Because indeed, I really say big amen to that prayer. Because the issue is this, we got to a point, Shivyori, when you go out as a supporter of this government, they will be asking you how market. You know what that means, that how market. But at this junction now, it will be the fight faster now as we are moving on. It will get to a point that we will not have them, our market too. Because when something's beginning to come down drastically, example is the petroleum price now. Because I would like a situation where the people asking me how market, I will be able to have them now, our market. So they will be able to say, okay, market is stable, but we still need this to come down more. I will tell them, just wait for another 4 years, by God's grace. But I will say that security, that's
what happened? Okay. Okay, I can hear you, Yakub. Okay, maybe there was a dip in the network. Continue.
Nigerian citizens, we need to take the book.
So sorry, Yakub. The thing is dropping out, but thank you for your call, nevertheless, because I think he was if the quality of the line had allowed him, I think he was going to end up where other people have also ended.
I think he shouldn't be so, he should be excited when they ask him high market. So it's part of what the president says. So our market is an opportunity for you to, as a supporter of the president, to tell them how the market is going.
Yes.
It's a banter language. It's like,
yes, of course.
Like
of
a
course.
football fan, like we are, they will tell you how market when your team is not doing well. So when your team is doing well, nobody will come and ask you how market. So you should take it as a banter and keep that. I think we should, I said, politics is not good with your economy. When you do something right, we should commend it. 2015, it was 2013 or thereabout when former President Goodluck Jonathan was about to do that. I think it was the right time. But again, you didn't do it because you didn't have the courage. Because if you had the courage and insisted on doing it, the war would not fall down like what we are seeing now. So we have missed the opportunity. I keep saying it is that if you had to do surgery 15 years ago and you didn't do it, you do it 15 years after, the pain is more.
It's going to be more.
It's going to be more because age has come in, your system has changed a lot of. So why we are feeling the kind of pain we are feeling now is because the surgery is coming late.
Yes, yes.
Because it's coming late and we don't have that luxury. A lot of economic issues have come in, COVID-19 distortion, Russia-Ukraine war. Now we have the Trump world order that is coming to distort. So it's no more like it used to be where crude oil price at that time was about $100 per barrel. Today, as I tell you, budget is 75, and yet crude oil is just around 60. So we're already having a shortfall of almost $15 per barrel. So how are we going to do that? So we must also say economy is a work in progress, hopefully. And we believe that with time, those results will come.
As you were saying, if it had been in the Jonathan era that we had done it, we would have traveled far. But even the following administration, the Buhari administration, if Jonathan was a bit, it lacked the courage to go out there and damn the consequences. I mean, look, I don't want to compare to one kind, but Tinubu said clearly from day one, subsidy is gone.
Remember,
in fact, there are people who are saying, well, wasn't that a bit hasty?
That was not even in his speech.
It wasn't even in the speech.
Even his team was also shocked and said, why did you say that? But I think, I don't like talking about Buhari administration. I believe it's the past. But economically, I say it without prejudice, that was the worst. That was the worst administration economical to this country. Anybody can say whatever. That's my personal opinion. Wherever we are here.
To the business life of the country.
Wherever we are here today, that's 8 years brought us to our knee. Economically, we are not progressing. Remember, he came in with that. He removed subsidy, he removed price. No, there was not even a single protest. Nobody even raised any. But after that, we saw a lot of policy. Central bank, currency redenomination, management team was not really there. We can't even pick on one economic management team. I think after Buhari has gone now, we used to say it then, and I said it in your program, that after he's gone, we'll know what he has done. Now we begin to see the monumental corruption that happened under that watch. All you need to listen to, just listen at people that are being tried. How much of billions of naira? Just look at the CBN, what they were doing. Look at the ways and means that have brought Nigeria inflation to where it is today. So anybody can say whatever they think Buhari have achieved. Maybe security-wise, he did very well. He was able to curtail Boko Haram, to an extent. You can give him that credit. But economically, he brought us to our knee. And I will say it confidently. He brought us to our knee.
Okay. I understand. Mr. Yakub was trying to get back in again.
Yes, I did. I did, because the line was not from then. What I'm trying to say is this. I understand that Mukhtar says that our market is a banter language. Yes, I understand. Can you hear me, sir? Please.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yes, yeah, I understand that. It's a banter language. But for me, if your team is not playing well, as Mukhtar put it in the first place, you will not be happy, sir.
Okay.
You support a club, and then the club was not doing well. And
okay.
then the opposition tells you our market. You don't have anything to say rather than go home gently. But now, moving forward, Chief Johnny,
you can move with your head high.
Yes, but before this year ends, God willing, if I can see petroleum PMS price come to at least maybe 50 naira, I mean 50 naira per dollar, 500 naira per liter, I will be able to say to those opposition, my people, my friends are asking me how market. I'll be able to return that banter language to them. That how market now? How market?
Okay, Mr. Yakub.
The joking part.
All right. Thank you very much.
Hopefully, you're not a supporter of Manchester United, because when they ask you how market, it's like the market gets bad every day.
Don't get him going, including all of those in our master control and all the cameramen. They take this Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United, take it very, very seriously.
That's how it is. So
don't let them get in on it.
Say when your team is not playing well. That's what I say. I think... hopefully we get there, but I'm not as optimistic as most of them say 500. Like I said, it will be a big challenge. If you have 500, that means the price of crude has actually fallen down. And then how do you balance it with your local, especially your foreign reserve? Unless we really diversify. And that diversification is a huge challenge, because it must come from your main earnings to diversify into other areas of the economy.
Indeed. And since you brought that up, it's connected. Because there's nothing that the economy doesn't connect up with. Mr. President, there was a season when he was frequently traveling. The whole effort was to bring foreign direct investment. I think we got some,
See, the game changer is, I think 2 weeks ago, we got a bank, Morgan Stanley. He's saying they want to establish a full-blooded bank in Nigeria.
Okay.
I mean, that is huge. That's what an international bank said. We want to do banking in Nigeria. We're not talking about Standard Chartered. Standard Chartered has been here. We're talking about Morgan Stanley, one of the biggest banks in the world. So that is what happened when you say you have traveled, want to see such results, bringing in here. So that is now beginning to make Nigerians the eyes of most investors. We are still one of the best in terms of return to investors. Nigeria is still one of the best economies to get returns of our investors. Only that you Nigerians, it's only we Nigerians that think that we don't get good returns in Nigeria. Because if you look at the Eurobond, our Eurobond is always oversubscribed. Why? Because we give them good return of almost 8 to 9%. They don't get it in their country. When their foreign direct investors are coming to Nigeria, they don't even really, they see the kind of return. They make about 30 to 20% even when they are repatriating their funds back to their country. They want to come to Nigeria. It's only Nigeria, like I keep saying, Nigeria will say, okay, we want to invest in foreign countries. And I tell them, the only time that money, that Naira that you change to dollar makes sense is when you change that dollar back to Naira. That's when it makes sense. So, Nigeria is still the center of attraction when it comes to economic investment and return. And that one message that Mr. President is able to push to the international community anywhere he goes. He said, our land is available for you to develop.
Exactly.
Our land, we still have the opportunity, so much opportunity. He used our problem to say, look, we don't have good road. You can come and build the road. Our power is subsidized. You can come and establish power plant. And that's what we say. But before now, when the president goes out, he complains about our youth are lazy. Presently now, the president tells you about the ingenuity of the Nigerian youth, what they've been able to achieve globally. So for me, fantastic work. Now we are beginning to see the result. Foreign direct investment, we want to see more of that. We want to see a bigger company comes in to say, we want to establish a full branch in Nigeria. That will create employment.
What does your experience tell you about the ease of doing business in Nigeria? Has that improved?
That has improved right from Buhari time, I must comment. And that is going to improve very well. We will need to give kudos also to the Minister for Interior and the Minister for Aviation. Those two ministries are doing so much for the ease of doing business. You talk about, now talking, I've seen them talking about card to enter. You don't have to go to the airport, quarantine. Is it NDLE will stop me, come and bring my bag. This other one, they are trying to make it easy. and they are trying to make it contactless with people. So you must say that the minister for aviation, the minister for interior, I mean, they are doing a good job. Very soon now, they have promised us that we start having passport. The passport situation is not as chaotic as it used to be. They are making it better. I can't say they are not there yet. But
they're not there yet. But we've seen it, and people were shocked that Nigerians around the world
can do it. Now you can see that you are now coming to the airport very soon. The aviation minister said, even in Abuja now, you don't have contact with customs. You just put your international passport, you put your passport, and you clear you and you go. So those are part of the things that will help in the ease of doing business. They are trying to introduce the e-card also. The Minister for Aviation and the Minister for Interior are saying that. So those are what makes your country an haven of investors, a good destination. So for that area, I think President Buhari did well. And I think President Tinubu, especially kudos to the Minister for Aviation and the Minister for Interior. They are doing fantastic job in the ease of doing business.
And maybe there are some other ones, because, you know, Mr. President, there was a time he gave matching orders. I said it before. Go and let people know what we're doing. People don't know how hard we've been working and what the results are. They might not be the results we ultimately want to be, but let them know we're headed in the right direction.
Exactly, because again, you can't say that the life of every Nigerian has improved.
No.
We have those challenges, and I'm happy sometimes the president even say that we know your pain, we know what you're going through, but there is always light at the end of the tunnel. I think that, for me, is what they should keep on emphasizing, as long as they are sincere with the reforms that we have seen thus far, and we are able to manage those external forces. That's my challenge. External forces that you don't have control over. Then we are, in the long run, Nigeria will be better for it. And
to come back to where we started from, this reduction, the ex-country price at Dangote refinery.
You see, Okuyori, I will be excited when there's a price war.
Okay. Yeah.
There's no price war yet.
Yes.
It's only Dangote and NNPC. Let's get other players, and I'm happy that other people are planning to build the refinery, and that is the beauty about it. When you open for investment, a lot of people will come in. So we'll begin to see that price war, because we are going to have people that are going to actually now, Dangote now is importing it through the water, bringing it through by ship. Even if it's buying Nigerian fuel in the Niger Delta, they have to also cargo it down to Lagos. But there are those people that will open their refinery right in the heart of the Niger Delta. So that cost of that transportation will come down. So price of crude, price of refinery will be cheaper in those areas. Those are when competition comes in. So they begin to say, okay, we have cheaper price, we can move it to Lagos. When Dangote is saying that it's 862, they are saying, no, we can do it for 800, for 820. That is where we will head to when it comes to deregulation. Before now, like I said, whether oil price goes up or goes down, subsidy increase.
Indeed. You know, it's a fine place to leave it, because it's a very big subject, and I'm so happy, Mukhtar, that you were in today to sort of shed light, as one of our viewers have said, on the matter. It's a big book, but at least we looked through the preface. Yeah, well, we looked through the preface, and these are the things that you're talking about. It's showing us the direction in which the Tinubu administration wants us headed. Yeah. You know, and people, Elder David came on and said that you need to thank the president. So thank you very much, Mukhtar. He's stockbroker and CEO of Finance with Mukhtar. Okay, we're going to have to leave it there today. That's our program. Do please join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Tired of spending endless hours in the kitchen? Struggling with bulky appliances? Cooking should be a delight, not a chore. Tired of messy cleanups from kitchen tools that never seem to perform as expected? Do you wish there was a single solution to handle all your blending, chopping, and grinding needs? Introducing the Cook X 4-in-1 Blender, the ultimate kitchen tool to revolutionize your cooking. It's a food processor, mixer, grinder, and blender, all in one. The incredible Cook X 4-in-1 blender comes with 3 versatile cup sizes, each tailored to handle a specific task perfectly. The Cook X 4-in-1 blender elevates your cooking, allowing you to effortlessly create truly smooth smoothies. No more stopping, staring, or an unbeatable price. Call now while stocks last.
Preceding is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Meet Benga Oreshegun, a fearless voice and an advocate for the truth. He's bringing fresh energy and bold insights to journalists' hangout.
Get ready for deeper analysis and dynamic perspectives. Join me and Babajide Kolade Otitoju with other veteran journalists on Journalists Hangout. Weekdays from 5 p.m. and on Sundays 1:30 p.m.
Is my fatherland. God bless Akwa.
We will invite all Akwa Ibomites to arise to the faith of greatness with our Rise agenda.
The sun is rising, the land is peaceful. It's so amazing that I can see.
The Shared Prosperity Weekly TV series on TVC News. It is through this telecast the viewers get to know what is happening in the prosperity government of His Excellency Senator Hope Uzodinma, the Executive Governor of Imo State. Through this program, all questions agitating the minds of citizens and residents of Imo State are answered in details with documentary evidence. Don't miss it. Keep a date with us every Sunday on TVC News by 9 p.m.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
The task of the leaders is to get their people from where they are to where they've not been. How do we hold our leaders accountable in the business of lawmaking and representation?
The mandate that you have given to us is not abuse in any way.
The primary purpose of government is to ensure the welfare and security of the Nigerian people.
The constituency project had noble intentions and they still remain the most veritable tool.
Do they really know their representatives at the states and national assemblies?
Our people, they don't have water, they are suffering. They only drink water from where rain fall.
For the current one, the 10th assembly, I don't really know who is in charge.
From the mountaintops to the deepest valleys, we're ready to go an extra mile just to show Nigerian your constituency projects. Know your representative with Maria, bridging the visible gap.
Hello and thank you for joining us on TVC Midday News. I am Abosadi Adeniyi. We are monitoring development in Niger State where rescue efforts are ongoing along the River Niger in Lapai local government area. And it's coming after a boat accident which led to the death of several passengers who were mostly traders. The incident happened Wednesday night near Sokun village when a boat carrying passengers and goods capsized. Eyewitnesses say the victims were traveling from Buge village in Kogi State to Sokun in Niger State. The boat, reportedly loaded with more than 200 bags of paddy rice, was caught in cloudy weather and a windstorm leading to the accident. A resident, Baba Al-Hassan, confirmed that the exact number of passengers on board remains unknown. He also confirmed that all the rice bags were lost in the river. As at the time of filing this report, there is no official statement on the incident or the casualty figures. We'll be monitoring that development and bringing you updates as soon as we have it. Away from Niger State now, the 2025 annual flood outlook has identified 1,249 communities as high flood risk areas and 2,187 as moderate flood risk areas across various states. At the public presentation of the annual outlook, Minister of Water Resources Joseph Otsev emphasized the importance of flood management and community preparedness. Senior reporter Habib Alawal reports.
The Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation.
The federal government is harnessing the power of local knowledge and technology
through innovative community-based forecasting initiatives. These programs are designed to improve preparedness and response strategies for flooding, a growing concern as climate change intensifies weather patterns. A total of 31 states have been identified as high flood risk areas. Minister of Water Resources, Joseph Usef, says it is crucial for communities within these regions to take proactive measures.
Moderate impact floods are expected in 445 communities in 116 local government areas in 24 states for the months of April, May, and June, and 1,458 communities in 271 local government areas fall within the months of July, August, and September.
The hydrological agency, saddled with the responsibility of forecast, has come up with interventions for reducing the impact of flood disaster on most vulnerable communities. It noted that collaboration is vital in these efforts.
Strengthen resilience of the communities and provide policymakers and disaster risk managers with timely, precise, and actionable flood risk information.
We are working with NISA and some other agencies on anticipatory action on floods, and we know that this year things are going to be different. We are going to be holding simulation exercises from decision makers all the way down to the local governments.
With the climate crisis already a reality, the focus on community-based initiatives reflects a shift towards empowering residents to take control of their safety and future. As Nigeria braces for the 2025 rainy season, authorities are urging state governments, local councils, and at-risk communities to act on the forecast insights, strengthen disaster preparedness plans, and participate in national programs designed to reduce vulnerability and save lives. Habida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
Joining me from on this is the founder, CEO, System Strategy and Policy Lab, Murtala Mohammed. Good to have you join us, Mr. Mohammed. Already 2,187 communities are said to be at risk of, moderate flood risk and more than 1,240 for high flood risk. How prepared do you think we are?
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to join you this afternoon. I think going with the lessons learned, I can categorically say that much if we are really prepared for this, because I carefully studied some of the states, government, sector strategic plan on agriculture, on environment, water and sanitation. You hardly find a key result area that clearly talk about crisis and emergency response. So we are yet to learn a lesson even from the COVID. When COVID happened, federal government has to intervene and give certain amount of money to state government before they respond to COVID. Now that's just an example.
Mr. Mohammed, yes, we'll get back to that, but should it even be about crisis and emergency management? Since we know that we are in a tropical area where we have rainy and dry season, definitely we know the rains would come. So how are we not able to adequately prepare?
Yes, I think three things happen here why we are not being able to adequately prepare. One, we find it very difficult to pay attention to data and information. If you study the previous flood that happened from 2002 to this moment, a state should be able to know that maybe they might likely experience flood as a result of impact of climate change. But at the moment, we know governors, specifically governors and top government officials, they hardly pay attention to data. They hardly use data to take an informed decision. So now you mentioned about in 30 states, 1,258 communities might likely have effect of flooding this time around. We don't pay attention to data. Two, we hardly capture this crisis in our strategic plan. Then number three, we hardly even allocate resources in case if it happened. So by the time it happened, that is when we now form committees. But it's not the issue of forming committee. This is the right time to form a committee. Now that the report is out, saying that in 50 states, over 1,000 communities might likely be affected by the impact of climate change because of the flooding that may happen because of this rainy season, then it's a good thing to say, okay, all these 30 states should come together and say, let's start getting ready for this.
All right.
Where are the communities that may likely be affected? How can we move this community now, maybe so that at least the flood might not affect the community?
I hear you, Mr. Mohammed. All right, we need to be proactive. You've spoken about funding. In the past, we've heard about ecological fund being released to different states to manage, this crisis. Where are we failing?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, we are failing from the planning. Because if you plan very well, we have a technical team of experts to provide recommendations to governors of the state, and from the Ecological Fund Office that manage the resources. How are the Ecological Office relating with the governors? And how are they providing data and information to them? How are they providing the technical support that is required for state to plan, budget, use data, release the money, have technical experts that will they review quarterly, they review every 6 months, and they review annually and see what are the challenges and where do we need to improve. So at times we ignore all this report. Now the report is coming out, 30 states are there, we have the 1,000 communities that may likely be affected, but how proactive are we?
All right, so proactiveness.
At times, yes, we'll just wait and be reactive. When the flood happens, then the government will form a committee. The previous committees that the federal government have been established, the state government have been established, where are the reports? At what point did we sit down to review the report and come up with a strategic, tailored-fitted recommendation on how can best address these issues?
All right, Mr. Mohammed, I believe you have made your point. Founder, CEO, Systems Strategy and Policy Lab, Murtala Mohammed, thank you for your time on TVC News at 12.
Thank you. Thank you. And have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Let's talk security. 17 kidnapped victims have regained freedom following operations by the police in Kaduna State. The victims were kidnapped from their village in Niger State and taken to Kaduna, where they were held hostage. Sifon Isien has more.
It's freedom at last after 37 days in captivity. These victims were taken from communities in Sarkin Power in the Munya local council of Niger State on the 3rd of last month and taken to Kaduna State, where they were held in captivity. The police said the victims regained freedom following a joint operation with the Office of the National Security Advisor.
Adopted on 3rd of March 2025 and was rescued yesterday. I think that's a month plus in captivity. And I can say those who are actually into this criminality, particularly kidnapping, they are so heartless, they are inhuman, and I can even say they are barbaric. To do kidnapping for ransom, they are out just to destabilize the system.
Kidnapping has become a pervasive security challenge in the country, prompting operations by security forces. These victims are to be reunited with their families in Niger State. Sifon Isien, TVC News, Abuja.
The governor of Kano State has commended Governor Mandi Okpebholo of Edo State for his swift response following the killing of 11 Kano-bound travelers in Uromi. Governor Abba Yusuf was represented by his deputy, who led a delegation to Edo State. Governor Yusuf emphasized the need for justice to be pursued diligently and with transparency.